Hey everyone, this is Martin, and I'm back at the video editing desk, and this is September 16th, Thursday morning, and I'm wearing work clothes today because it's going to be a busy day. We've got some work to do out in the at the resort here today, and in the well house. That'll be fun, and I'll do a video of that. We've got some equipment that we got to work on, and but uh, the main thing I want to do is get you an update on kind of where we're at with the property purchase. We are 15 days away from the closing on that, and so that's moving along really well. And I'm going to cover a little bit of things with title company and title work and stuff like that today. It sounds boring, but it's important. This is some of the most important stuff that you will want to do is if you're going to be purchasing some land or some things that you want to pay attention to. And then later on, we're going to be meeting actually with a bank out there on the property, and he's going to be answering some questions on financing, whether you're doing kind of the agricultural homestead thing or just an off-grid thing or like a recreation property like what we've been doing for the last decade or so. And I'm going to record a lot of that. I still haven't gotten really very many questions that people want me to ask the bank while I'm there. So if you think of anything, make sure to put it in the comments. I'll check that out before I head out there with them. The other thing is that if you've been finding any kind of value in this, go ahead and go to the bottom of the screen here, the bottom of the video, and click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll continue to get the videos on this. The thing I want to cover today, though, is on the title work, because we've run into not a problem. Actually, we've run into a solution that was in the process of happening on the property that we're buying. Part of it fronts an actual paved highway, so it's got really easy access into it, but it's also on a little bit of a curve. And I never thought much of it. They put a temporary driveway down in there to get down into the place, but to get away from that curve a little bit, the Department of Transportation requires the entry drive to be a little bit where it straightens back out again. So that required an easement, and the seller on there was already in the process of getting that done. And it's pretty well finalized as of yesterday, I think. So that will give us access to the property through another entryway, and that's kind of more in the corner of the property, and that's all details you don't need to know about. But the issue is that they got me thinking about it because you know, when you're buying property, that the legal descriptions and the any kind of easements that are involved or anything have to be kind of taken into consideration ahead of time. Otherwise, they can create huge problems later. And it's part of the reason why I'm not always excited about doing owner financing things when I'm purchasing anyway. I've done that before and that works fine, but I never just sort of take everybody's word for the fact that everything is good and clean and in order. That's why I always recommend that whenever you're doing any kind of a transaction with any kind of land, that you have it done through a title company at the very least. That's what they do day in and day out, every single day. They come in and they work on title work to make sure that it's all clean. And so the deed to the property or the title to the property can transfer or convey to you properly. Whenever you're making a deal like that, just make sure that it goes through a title company, and that they'll iron all that out. One of the things that you get by doing that, or an attorney that is good with property transfers and real estate deals, is good too. But one way or the other, always have someone like that look at that. And I'm not the kind of person that will get all panicked and freak out and negative and pessimistic about that. It's a step that you got to go through if you don't want to run into problems down the road. Now, one of the benefits of that is they'll check and make sure that there's nothing there existing that is going to create a problem, or any kind of liens or judgments or property disputes or anything like that. They'll make sure to check all the stuff in the past. But just in case there's something there that everybody has missed, they'll issue an item that's called a title insurance policy. And what that does is, and it's not that expensive. I think the last one that we did was like $40. And what that does is it's an insurance policy against problems in the title. And so if you do have a problem that pops up down the road, they will cover the cost of that, of getting that fixed, up to the price of the purchase of the property. So, like on our small one that we're buying here in a couple of weeks, purchase price on that was $119 or $119,000. So the title insurance covers up to $119,000 worth of problems to be fixed on there if we need to get attorneys involved and things like that. So that's very important. You don't want to go into something and find out later on that either the property can't convey to you, or there's a problem in that. And those kind of problems, I'm going to give you kind of a worst case scenario, and then something that's kind of typical and routine that you run into. And we have had actually problems that have shown up, not when we bought, but when we sold the property. Whoever's working on the title work that time will turn up something that everybody else missed. And that's where the title insurance policy comes in. It's just like they take that policy, they go out and fix all the problems and pay whoever it takes to get it fixed. And then you have a clean title again. And two of the things that you run into, one of them is fairly common, where there's been a transfer of the property, maybe through a death or something like that of a family member, and it's been transferred, and maybe some of the death certificates didn't get recorded properly, so they have to go around and track all that back down and get that recorded before it can legally transfer to someone else. A divorce will sometimes trigger something like that too, where there's been a divorce and the paperwork for dividing the property, or taking care of who got the property or how they divided that up or how they had the payoffs, may not have been processed properly. And so you end up finding out that you own a property that's also controlled by someone that went through a divorce at some time, and sometimes they're not real cooperative about signing off on things after the fact, just out of spite. So those are things that you want to have that will be looked at with the title search and all of that, but then also will be covered by the title insurance policy whenever a problem like that arises. And we have had a couple of them that have come up. They've been very simple things, usually fairly easy to fix, but nevertheless, they're there, and they mess up, or they make a mess of the title work. So one of the things that I've seen in the past, this is kind of worst case scenario because this was done on a big scale, and it was done kind of locally down here, so it was in the news a lot. And there was a family that started, and what they did was technically legal, okay, but they just got underwater with it and couldn't keep up. And what they had done was they were going around and to people that wanted to sell their homes, and this was back in a time where selling a home was not easy. Right now it's like you put it on the market and it's gone. But back then, when this happened, it was not that easy. So there was a group of people that were going around and they were making deals to buy houses from people. And basically their contract was that they would simply take over the contract with the bank and start making the payments on it. And all of that works fine and it's legal to do that. But it works okay as long as you're keeping up the bank payments. If you stop keeping up the bank payments, though, and the bank gets to a point where they are entering into a foreclosure process, then all of a sudden the previous owner that you bought it from comes back into play, because they're the one that's getting foreclosed on. They're the one that has the contract with the bank. And what had happened was this family or group of people had bought close to 150 houses that way. They'd turned around and done contract for deed sales to other people that were buying them, thinking that they had a rock solid deal. And what happened was when this group could not make the payments, or if they were collecting payments or not collecting payments from the people they were buying them from, and they just didn't have the money to make the payments themselves, or if they took too many vacations and spent the money, which I think is partly part of the case there. What happened was there started this cascade effect of the bank started foreclosing on the original owners that they had the contracts with, and the people in the middle all of a sudden they were getting mail saying that your house is under foreclosure. The middleman guys that had supposedly bought those or taken over those contracts, they disappeared because they saw the whole thing crumbling down around them, and they disappeared, and they took whatever money they had and left. And then the people that had bought the homes from them on these contract for deeds, all of a sudden they'd be sitting around their dinner table at night and they'd get a knock on the door and there's someone saying, your house, we want to inspect the house. Well, why do you need to inspect our house? Because it's going up for sale tomorrow at the courthouse steps and we are interested in buying it. So, I mean, they were completely oblivious to the fact that their house was foreclosed on and going to a tax sale or a sale at the courthouse. So, I mean, that's kind of some of the problems that you can, and again, that's worst case scenario. I've really only seen that once. I've heard about it happening other times or similar kind of things on not as big of a scale as that. But a lot of people went to jail over that. And so those are kind of the best case to the worst case problems that you run into if you don't get title work handled ahead of time. And I mean, you can go on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and the newspaper and everywhere and find contract for deed places, but you just want to make sure to go through the whole process properly so that you make sure that you're actually getting a deal that is really going to work for you. Anyway, I'm going to let this one go for now. We'll be talking to the bank later today down on the property, and we're going to do a lot of question and answers with him. I'll post a video on that. As soon as the sun comes up, we're going to go out there and start fixing a problem in the well or in the well house. And I'll probably record that too, because who knows? I mean, last time we were in there, we got hosed down and sprayed with a lot of water. And you never know, it may happen again. And if you can, go ahead and click the subscribe button below the video here, the notification bell as well. And that way you won't miss anything. And and we're possibly getting a new tractor delivered today. So who knows what all's going to happen today.